So, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to another interview. I got some incredible people with me today. I got Alex and Michelle. How you guys doing?
What's up, Jeremy?
Nice. Yeah, I appreciate you guys dropping in and, giving us this, 15, 20 minutes here in this interview together. We're just really looking to get some insights into how you guys became who you are today as agency owners. So for starters, what were you doing before you had a marketing agency?
I guess before I started doing marketing or getting really into this type of industry, I was actually a waitress at a restaurant for like 5 years.
Nice.
Basically working full time from like 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
So how we met in high school. We went to high school together, and she was doing a little bit on the side while working at the restaurant. And before starting my agency, probably like 6.5 years, I was just doing random stuff, man. Jobs. Like I was working at Pizza Hut. I was chauffeuring and the owner of a marketing agency, Jordan Zimmerman. So Jordan Zimmerman, he owns Zimmerman Advertising here in Broward, Florida. So that was very inspirational for me. After meeting him, I wanted to start an agency, and I did. And here we are today.
Nice, cool. So you met up with somebody who already had a marketing agency, and that inspired you to do it. Now, did you already get into the program prior to that point, or you started up a marketing agency and then that kind of led you to the course itself so you can kind of better your skills and scale, or what got you in the program?
What really got me in the program was wanting to understand like how other people were doing it, because I had scaled my agency to about 17 team members at that point. We had physical locations across South Florida, but we weren't as profitable as I thought we should have been. And we were really spending a lot of money on physical location, on resources that we weren't using, and we weren't really being very productive. And I was just running around figuring it out on my own. And the reason I joined, the reason that I saw some value in it was not only because of what I had seen so far, but other people's results. So I just decided, all right, let's see what's the best way of me educating myself and my team and everybody around me so we can make a little bit more money and have more time for ourselves ultimately.
Yeah, good reason for sure. There's far more people that are like just getting started when they join into the program, but I tell people all the time, it is built for existing agency owners like looking to scale. Would you agree to that?
It's definitely built for agency owners looking to scale their agency, because it's not that you necessarily don't know what you're doing or that you've been doing it wrong, but there's certain successful actions that certain people are repeating. And it's not only learning it and watching it, it's also the community support and the community aspect. Like if you have questions, if you're stuck, if you need accountability, it's like really all around. You get it. I mean, we feel great about it.
Yeah, I think we all how to optimize our time a lot better. We were wasting a lot of time just menial tasks that we shouldn't have been doing. We should have delegated or either automated it. And I think the course really helped us kind of think about like, okay, this is what I need to be doing and not be spending so much time even thinking about doing something else.
Yeah.
Speaking of menial tasks, I got the maids in the background, by the way, if you hear any like vacuuming or see some people back there. Cool. Yeah, it's great. And then in terms of like, I know you mentioned you already had a marketing agency and then you got into the program, but like what was life like prior to that point? Like how did you feel about things? Multiple locations, lots of staff. Like how was life?
It was very crazy for me. I was very stressed out a majority of the time. I was redlining almost every day, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad. Like I had a lot of fun, and it was a very nice learning experience for me, both in business and personal. For me to see how I interacted with other people and how I grew my business. I got to about 30K a month on my own without any support from anyone or any agency owner helping me out or letting me know anything. Wow. So once I became part of the program and got everybody else that was working with me to adopt all that we were learning and actually become part of everything, we started looking at things completely differently outside of just business. We really started taking care of ourselves. We really started sleeping. We really started taking successful actions on resting and recovering, which is outside of the agency work, but are things that are brought up within the ecosystem that are just as important as actually doing the work, taking care of yourself, which is something I wasn't doing. So from a health aspect, from a financial aspect, from a community support aspect, I think the course all around changed the game for us in a way that, like I mentioned it this morning, we mentioned it in the chat, it's invaluable. And that's how we feel it is. Like we can't put a value to it. It's just something that needed to be done, and we're glad that we did it.
So after you went through the program, like what kind of changes did you make? Like you still have all those physical locations and all the staff, and are you making more money?
Yeah, no. So, we're making like,
I couldn't even almost triple.
We're making almost triple agency revenue.
We tripled our hourly rates. Like,
Quadruple. We quadrupled our consulting rates. Went from $250 an hour to $1,250 an hour. People are paying. If you don't ask, you don't get paid. And we adopted that. We're making a lot more money with a lot less staff and no physical locations. We travel as a team. Almost every month. At least four of us on the core team travel, and then the rest are around the world. And we don't have an office. We just work from a laptop.
That's sweet. So what are you guys making right now per month?
Right now, we're between both of our businesses, because we're applying skills to both of our businesses. We're doing about $70,000 a month.
Nice. Congratulations for sure. That's fantastic. Yeah. So less staff.
Everyone putting everything together. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. No, happy to do it, man. Happy to do it. Yeah. A lot of people ask me, they're like, why do I need to learn from you? And I tell them, I'm like, dude, let me tell you something. Okay. You don't want to learn the lessons I learned the hard way. They make you miserable. They're not that fun. Like, sure. I put like what to do, but I also put like what not to do, so you don't fuck up and like get into a state of misery, and that's a big point of it. I found, when I had 3 offices as an example and 27 staff, it's just not how you have to do things. Like I make far more now. I have 4 staff, we make triple what we made back then. No offices or anything like that. It's a far better way to operate, and of course to each his own, but that's incredible. So now that you're making all this extra money, like what are you doing with it?
Well, so one of the things that's also very important that we've learned as part of the program and being around everything is not just about how much money you make, but it's also about how much money you keep and how much money you compound and turn into generational wealth. So we applied all of these things that we've learned into our agency to generate more monthly revenue, but then we also applied these to my family business, where Michelle's helping us out and the rest of the team. And from that aspect, that's where we're generating all of these. We're looking to be doing at least $100,000 a month just from one of the businesses in the next 60 days from digital strategies that we've learned, within the marketing program.
Nice.
Things that we didn't even know before, that it was just as easy as watching, executing, asking the right questions and getting it done, and just not being afraid of doing it. So we're very grateful, just from not only from feeling better every day, and then feeling motivated. Like you and everybody else motivate the shit out of us, because you guys are way ahead of us in certain aspects, and we look up to that. And then when you or somebody in the group shares accomplishments, and we're like, that is amazing. We're actually happy about it and we're motivated by it. And I think that more than anything, you need to surround yourself with other people, because entrepreneurship, it doesn't have to be lonely when there's communities like this.
What do you think like the biggest lesson? I know this is potentially hard to answer, but usually for me, like when I go into a program, and I take courses all the time, I read books, I feel like there's usually like one just big thing that like really has the most impact on me. Has there been one of those big things for you guys, or has it all just kind of like had equal value for you?
I think like the biggest lesson for me personally would just be like when I do copywriting now, like I'm always thinking like, okay, like what do I need to say in order to make the audience think this and do this and take call to action and do this and fall into this funnel. So now I'm like, okay, like our audience is males between 50s and 60s. Okay, so it's most likely these emotions that they're going to be feeling. So I need to put these emotions into their heads through these words.
In general, just understanding the type of content you're distributing, right? Like what is being said in that content. It's just not putting content out there and hoping for it to work. Like what message are you giving people? What problems are you solving? Like what are the benefits? What are the features of what you're offering, your product, your service? Like really understand what their problems are and articulate that. Articulate that through copy. Articulate that through the content that you show. We've learned objection handling through the program. We've learned copywriting. We've learned the steps of agreements. We've learned digital advertising strategies, Facebook strategies. Like if you in general want to grow not only an agency but a business in general, like if you're a business owner who is very serious about their marketing and scaling the marketing wing of their company, this is also a great program for you. It's not just for agency owners. I think that it's amazing. I have my 15-year-old brother going through it in order for us to know that he could help us out on the business side, just so he could be on the same frequency as everybody in the community, as you, as all of the things that we're doing. So it just goes to show that it doesn't take a rocket scientist to go through this course. It just takes somebody that has conviction and actually is hungry to grow, whether it's a 14-year-old like you've shown us before, or whether it's a 45, 50, 60-year-old. There's value in this course for absolutely anyone looking to make more money with their business.
And look, I almost guarantee there's somebody watching this right now that's saying to themselves, you know, like, well, this guy already had a marketing agency. You know, he was already doing 30K prior to this. Now that you've gone through it and you came into it as an agency owner, would you tell the person who's just getting started that it's also built for them and that it can help them get started confidently and actually making money in this business? Or would you say that it's only for people who are scaling?
Honestly, if I would have found out about this when I first started my agency, I would have probably saved myself a lot of time, money, and misery. I don't wish I would have changed it because my path is how it is now. But if you are starting your agency right now from absolute scratch and you have no idea what to do, or you sort of have a direction and you have a little bit of money in your pocket to invest into yourself, without a doubt, you have to do it for yourself. Like, you have to self-invest and get yourself to where you need to be mentally and operating mentally so you could run a good business. Because I was making $30,000 a month before, but I wasn't keeping $30,000 a month. I was barely keeping any money. I was probably going under every month because I was just doing things wrong. If I would have done it better or had a structure, had a team in place that could have actually advised me correctly, I probably would have been keeping a great majority of that, specifically in marketing. When you're doing what we do, margins can be really good as long as you know what you're doing, as long as you set up a right deal for yourself, and that there's healthy communication between you and the people that you're doing business with. Radical transparency, like you teach, is very important.
Yeah, true. And what would you say to the person who's they're not even an agency owner yet? You know, they're just looking at this and they're like, you know, is this what I want to do? Like, is this what I want to commit to? Does this feel like a real business that you can scale and that, you know, helps you with your other businesses in the future? What would you tell that kind of person who's just considering it? You know, they're not even necessarily committed to the idea of an agency yet.
Well, I think Michelle is a great testament to that, because I had an agency already, right? I was already on my story. You could look at it a certain way. For her, she had marketing knowledge already, but she wasn't running an agency. And Michelle, along with everything we've taught her on this side and everything we've learned from the program, everything you brought to the table, she's been working at a restaurant to running an agency where we're doing 6 to 7 figures for clients. So she started from nothing. She went through the whole course.
Yep.
She went through everything.
Yeah, I think it's just more the mindset that I was in. I was in that like mindset, like, oh, like I'm never going to be able to work out of a 9 to 5. Like, how am I going to be able to afford things without working at a restaurant? Like, it just didn't make sense to me that I could work from home and not work a 9 to 5 and still make money. And so like I finally just had the courage and like I had the faith in him, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna quit. I quit he told me like quit. And I'm like, okay. I walked in the next day at work and I'm like, I quit. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, how do you quit? You worked here 5 years, like out. Like, I'm gonna work from home and I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm like, you're not gonna make it. I'm like, I will. And so that's why I took the course, and this course completely I feel like I saved myself on all the dummy tasks by taking this course and was able to learn all these lessons that you guys went through in such a space of time.
Yeah, she learned in, let's say, like a year and a half, probably, what took me like 3 to 4, just because I hadn't just exposed to these types of things. I was skeptical, and I spent thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars on this coaching or that coaching. Realistically, you're buying time. You are buying time and your wisdom, and you're buying knowledge, which is, like I said before, invaluable.
Nice. You guys ever bought any other agency mentoring courses?
Yes. We've 2 or 3, I think. Yeah, but none of them were like this. Like, they were very niched down on specific services that we wanted to offer within the agency.
Yep.
Just SEO or just web development, and just being able to crush a bunch of websites at a time with a certain sales process.
But this is like the all-in-one.
Yeah, this was
so much. From this one course. This one was, I've gone through it like 3 times probably myself, because it's just like it's a lot of content and you have to execute into it. It's not just like, let me watch it and then like I'm magically going to like this isn't a get rich quick scheme. This is a blueprint for success that's only going to work if you get up and do it right every morning.
Yeah. Would you agree that it takes work to be able to build a marketing agency? Like, I don't want anybody who's watching this to have the impression that, you know, making 30K, doing 70K a month, like this shit's not easy. You know, like you got to put in work to be able to pull that off. You know, would you agree to that?
Yeah, I agree to that. It's like more than putting in a lot of work. It's a lot of mental pressure. Like that's why it's also good to be on a good frequency, on good rest, on good health, and good exercise. Like, these are all the habits that we in the community like to adopt from each other, right?
That's true.
could be good, so we could be working less hours. Before I was working 16 hours. You guys taught us to work smarter, not harder. Now we stop working at 7 p.m. every day, and we triple, quadruple the amount of money we did before. And it's not any specific magic formula. It's just repeating successful actions, little habits, habit stacking, right? Yep. And then just measuring yourself, auditing yourself, and then not falling into a hamster wheel. I think that's the key.
And I fielded a few questions from some of the students that are already in the community that get inspired by these kind of stories. And they wanted me to ask you, how do you guys get clients? Like, what is your guys' strategy?
The strategy to get clients is the strategy we learned from the course.
So you guys are sending video pitches?
Yeah. So
sending out like almost 40 a day for one.
We're sending 40 pitches a day per industry. We're doing 3 industries right now. We're measuring response rates with everything we learned from the course, from tracking to copywriting to just even tweaking your copywriting, your subject lines, the things that you're saying, just to increase click-through, open rates, automations like ManyChat, ClickFunnels, like how we're sending people like into the landing page to collect leads. Like it's literally everything. If you have no idea what to do, like literally just open the course and just get started, and it will literally guide its way to what you need. We need literally A to Z.
It's what it's built for. Nice. Yeah, glad to hear it. You know, there's always some skeptics inside of like even people who already have the program, you know, that just it's tough to commit to the video pitch idea, or it's, you know, for that matter, it's tough to commit to anything that you're you know, not in belief about. But I'm glad to hear that for sure. And then person who's just getting started, okay? So they're in the position where they've said, all right, you know, this agency vehicle, it's right for me. Like I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to believe that this is right for me. What do you got to tell that person who's like literally just getting started? What would your advice be?
My advice would be to not expect immediate results, right? Because you have to understand that you have to put in the work to get what you want. We have been doing the cold video pitch process for several months now. Nice. For a while now. I think it's been almost 8 months. And it took us a little bit for us to be accountable enough and to be organized enough to even operate it at taught us to operate. So there was a lot of shakiness at the beginning, and we had to really hold ourselves accountable. We really had to make sure that we were there for each other and calling each other out if we weren't getting things done. And for the person just starting out, I'll give you a perfect example. Recently, my cousin came to the United States from Colombia to do, let's say, like an internship with us, right? He did an internship where we taught him digital marketing, where we taught him how to agency, and he spent 6 months here. He learned English, he learned digital marketing, he learned how to start a marketing and run a marketing agency, how to do cold pitches. Nice. And he's now in Colombia, has been in Colombia for 30 days, implemented everything that we taught him, and he is over there with a physical location now, has 3 team members. They're sending out cold pitches every day. They're building Shopify websites, Webflow websites, running local ads, and they're ahead of the curve because the market sophistication in Colombia for digital marketing is like stage 1. And he's arriving with a stage 3 over there. So even in another country that has nowhere near the resources that we have in a country like the United States in a digital aspect, is somebody able to excel implementing so many of these core foundational things that we're learning in this program.
That's great to hear. And what would you tell to the skeptics out there who maybe they've consumed some of those YouTubers content that just pumps in their head that courses are bullshit and that they don't work, and you know, there's constantly, you know, to be clear, there are a lot of people who need to be called out in the course community for like legitimate scams, but it's a double-edged sword, you know, because there are a lot of legit programs out there, and then it kind of puts the wrong data in the person's head, you know. So there's now a lot of course skeptics out there.
If courses didn't work, they wouldn't exist globally. In every civilization and every
good way to put it.
world. It's just like everything else, man. Like when people say, don't go there because it's dangerous. Well, there's dangerous neighborhoods everywhere, right? You need to make sure that you do the due diligence in searching things up. Like, who are you giving your money to? Like, who is this guy? Who is this girl? What has she done? Do you want to be like them? Or do you look to be like them? We're saying about them. And once you figure these things out, it'll be easier. Yes, like, it's difficult. Like when you go to a doctor, right? You go to a doctor, you don't know if he's the best one, or you don't know, like, you just have a degree and they have a paper on the wall. Like, it's not about that. It's about you doing enough work to understand that the things that you're giving your intentions, your time, and your money to are things that are credible, things that have people behind them like speaking for them. Like I'm a testament to it. Like you've completely life with everything that you've taught us, that you've put together in this course, in this community. Like
thank you. Happy to help.
We don't know what direction we'd be heading in right now if you wouldn't have taught us the things that you taught us, and we're mad grateful about that. So if there's somebody that doesn't think that could work, they could just Google us. Like literally Google us, look at the things that we've done, and we're telling you for a fact. Like data speaks. It speaks.
I really appreciate all the time. I'm sure everybody does who's watching this as well. So big thank you. So last piece of advice, what would you guys tell somebody who's just in the position where they're really committed to this thing, and they're really ready to start scaling it up. They're sending video pitches out. They're in those first couple days. What's your final piece of advice?
I think my advice would just be, have patience. Like maybe like getting really worked up and like, oh, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. Like this is not working out. Like just take time. Like we said it today, like it's not an overnight success. Like you just have to give it time and really communicate with your team to see what they need and like what you could do better as a leader, and just do that.
Yeah, you need to give yourself time. You need to you need to be patient with yourself, and you need to be kind to yourself, and understand that as long as you know that you're working towards your goals every day and getting one step closer, that you indeed are on the right track. And don't let negative data come into your mind. You teach us that a lot. Like don't let other people's opinions bring you down. Weigh people's opinions and scan them and understand them and be aware of things and dive certain things and certain content and pull certain wisdom from it, but don't let it run your life. If you want to take this course, if you want to take anything in your life serious, just do it. Just get started, and you'll see that sooner rather than later, you're going to start seeing the results. I got my money's worth within the first day. I saw it, and that's the out of it. It's just, what are you going to do with it?
We took action.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel nowadays? Like now you're on the other side of this. You're at the end of the rainbow and the pot of gold in a lot of people's eyes. Just what's the feeling?
It's definitely like more freedom.
Yeah.
But you're always on more.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Like we are energized now. And I think we're just like, we're hungrier now. So it's like, okay, like what's next? Like, okay, we got this client, like what's the next client?
And we learn how to say no to a lot of things that don't serve us, which is great. Like it's good to say no to certain things. Not everything is meant for you. And like, you have to recognize that. And that's another thing that we learned. That was really cool, because I would say yes to everything before. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, sure. And then I found myself running in loops and circles. And now it's a straight line for me. And I see the end goal, and I know what I need to do to get there. I just need to be consistent. It's a long road, but it's a steady road now that I'm heading in the right direction at the right speed.
Well, I really appreciate you guys' time. I'm sure once again, everybody does who's watching this. Thank you for the interview. And I look forward to your ongoing success. You guys are going to crush it.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
man. I appreciate it.
All right, bye.